my question here is like, it's an international labor organization, right? So being, if you talk about textile industry specifically, so how ILO, help the labor to train in their training with regards to decent work. So, does you guys have partners which collaborates and do the on-ground working? So we would like to know, how organization works on ground.
Thank you very much. I think another wonderful question, because textile is just so centric to the economy of Pakistan. It is a big contributor to the GDP. It's a big employer of workers that are engaged in the supply chain, but also in factories where the manufacturing takes place. Pakistan has a composite vertical structure and horizontal structure when it comes to supply chains. So we have we produce cotton, we do ginning, we do spinning, and then all the way to cotton. So ready-made garments where you're selling value-added products. So Pakistan is fortunate to have a very strong value chain, so to say. But again, despite having value chains in the textile sector, we feel there's a need to strengthen different actors in across that value chain. So if I start with the lowest tier again, with cotton farming communities, they're afflicted with decent work deficits, such as not having enough or adequate wages, not having the skills to diversify crop yield or to increase crop yield. We know that during the floods in 2022, cotton production has been affected, and that has in turn affected the input to the ready-made garments manufacturers. Again, resultantly, our exports are affected. So this connection of the supply chain actors is very important, and which is why there's a responsibility that exporters have and the large producers have towards their supply chain, inputs that are coming from down at the bottom farming communities, but also ginning and spinning, which is not so much regulated. So it's important to work around regulation, strengthening industrial relations within those lower tiers. Now, you asked an important question around what stakeholders do we work with on the ground, and what are some of our programs. So I'll just quickly give you a brief overview of ILO's work in Pakistan in the textile sector. Our largest program at the moment is, and it's quite new, is the Better Work program. It's a ILO IFC International Finance Corporation collaboration that was launched earlier this year in March, and government of Pakistan has pledged $3 million for a pilot program that is 3 years duration. Our partners and donors in the program are also European Union, Australians. And the program, if you know, is now operational in 12 countries. Pakistan is one of them. It's a flagship project that works on improving compliances in the enterprises, but not just where the value addition projects are being made. It also has various activities with supply chain actors, including home-based workers, which in our case, in the case of Pakistan, make up for 70% of the home-based work that is there. And home-based workers, as we know, are also largely employing women, young girls, and youth. So we need to be aware of what vulnerabilities those workers face when they engage with work. Women, because they're concentrated in home-based work, do not have the agency and bargaining power. So that is an area where ILO is concentrating in by giving women training in negotiation skills, but also in organizing them, so they can come in groups and they can then bargain better with these middlemen or contractors who are giving them work. But also important is the new developments around due diligence. So we know that European governments and European markets, especially business community, are now discussing this due diligence throughout supply chains. and which has implications for Pakistan. It's a responsibility that they take into account every single factor that is providing input to the product that they're selling. There should be something that business community should reflect on in Pakistan, and they're doing that. ILO is engaging with Employers Federation of Pakistan and its members in also helping them look at opportunities to expand their network to include other sectoral organizations such as EPTIMA, PRIGMIA, PTEA, Voicery, towel manufacturers, you name it. Sensitize their members to be more compliant. And how are we doing that? So it's not always the carrot, the stick that we use in terms of policing them, but also facilitating them. And to facilitate them in doing so, we bring in our tools and approaches. Now, I mentioned the Better Work program. The Better Work program has factory services or advisory services. It's a year-long cycle where gaps are assessed in an enterprise. So factories can partner with the Better Work program directly or through their brands. And brands have to pay a fee for every factory that they register with Better Work program. There's a lot of ground that we need to cover, and we are doing so by helping withdraw children from work and putting them into schools. So there's a lot of collaboration also with state actors such as labor administration down at the lowest tier, which includes district level administration but also provincial level administration, and then some non-state actors, which includes NGOs, which includes organizations that are linking these poor families and vulnerable groups with social protection, health, education, etc. The third program I would like to name here only is also being implemented with the help of the European Union, which is the Clear Cotton Project, also focusing on due diligence and principles of right at work in agricultural value chain. And last but not least, there's a International Labour and Environmental Standards project that works on both labor compliances but also environmental compliances. So we're working quite a bit on with our partners, which is WWF, on chemical waste management, especially persistent organic pollutants in the textile sector, use of efficient use of water resources, and the likes of it. So basically, this is our portfolio in the textile sector only in Pakistan.
Thank you, Rabia. Let's conclude. So I would like you to highlight the 2030 agenda vision.
Thank you, Sidra. I think all development partners in Pakistan, and especially the ILO, are now talking about accelerating our course towards achieving the commitments to 2030 agenda. Sustainable development goals are central to the work that we do, and they're central to the work of our constituents. So while I said the constituents, which is the government, employees and workers, are formulating the next 5 years plan, which is the Decent Work Country program, the Decent Work Country program will achieve the commitments that are foreseen for the 2030 agenda by accelerating job-rich growth, by accelerating social protection for all, leaving no one behind. And this is also the vision of the Director General of the ILO for member states. And there's a global coalition, a call to member states to come together in the global coalition to accelerate our commitments and contribution towards the Vision 2030 or the Agenda 2030. So we'll continue to foster good partnerships with Employers Federation of Pakistan, Pakistan Workers Federation, the government of Pakistan at federal and provincial levels, but also other important stakeholders in the sector, textiles mainly, but also going beyond textiles, to encourage people to move towards better gainful employment, decent work, and economic growth for Pakistan.
Thank you so much, Rabia, for your time. And it would be so great for us to learn about how ILO is working in Pakistan.